Hi, I'm Erin, the Nature Center's manager at the Detroit Zoological Society here at the Belle Nature Center with another quick tip about attracting backyard birds to your backyard. And today we're going to talk about nests. And so one thing is, if you do have a nest in your backyard, it's really tempting to go check on it all the time, but that's actually a really good way to lead predators to that nest. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things that like to eat bird eggs and bird young, including squirrels, which are really common in our backyards. And so the number one piece of advice that I have is don't go near the nest. I'm going to break that just a little bit right now because I have a nest up on the wall way up here. Where I don't think a squirrel can get it. I feel pretty confident about this nest. And what I actually am going to grab is some of the material. This is being built by a robin who is extremely messy. But I want to show you some things that we shouldn't put out in the yard for birds, and then give you some suggestions for things that you could put out in the yard that the birds will very happily and safely incorporate into their nests. Okay? Okay. So this was some of the material that was hanging out of the bird's nest, and a lot of it is great. It's grasses, dried grasses and stems from last year, which is totally appropriate. But do you see this? This is like carpet fibers and string, which seems totally great to give to the birds because they weave it right into their nest. The problem is all these things like yarns and especially nylon like this, they're not biodegradable. And they don't behave like natural materials, and so the little birds can actually get them wrapped around their feet or their necks, and that can actually cause a lot of harm. So if you're putting materials out for the birds, you really want to be careful that you're not putting strings and fibers out. You want to put things like pet hair from your cat or your dog if you're giving them a good brush. I know my cats this time of year really need to get brushed. That's great material. The birds will use it. I've noticed here at the Belle Nature Center, they're really using the hair from our deer that are molting right now in other robins' nests that are also leaking materials. So that's tip number one, is no non-natural materials. Sometimes you see people sell little baskets of yarn that you can put out, and you should not in fact do that because those non-natural fibers can be really harmful to the birds, and the birds don't know better. They're just going to use anything like this, and they'll pick up trash. I've seen toilet paper in this nest. And plastic wrappers. They will use anything that they find. So we want to be careful that we're not putting anything out that's going to harm them. Okay, and so here's some footage I took at home. It's my cat Little Bit. She needed a good brushing anyway, and you'll see in just a second I'm collecting all of that good fur from the cat, and I'm going to let that go outside, and it makes great nest material, and the birds love it. They don't care that it came from a cat. They're very happy with the soft fuzz. And so that's a win-win. If you've got a pet at home that's shedding some of its winter coat, it's great to give the cat or dog a little brushing, and you can let that fur just go right out in your yard for the birds. Okay, and it is really important to remember that nests are protected. So even here at the Nature Center, we don't collect nests. We do have permits to have them on display. But this nest was a robin's nest, and I know that because I saw the robin build it, and then you can see all that mud in there is very common in a robin's nest. It also has some toilet paper or paper towel wrapped up in there. But this nest actually blew down you can maybe hear behind me, it's a little bit windy. It blew down overnight. It was up on our building, and so this is a great opportunity to see what the robin has put in the nest. And robins, like many of our songbirds, are very adaptable, and they will rebuild a nest. Even with all that mud on the inside, that nest was not strong enough to withstand the wind from the last couple of days. And so as you're celebrating and appreciating wildlife, especially birds in your backyard this time of year, remember we keep our distance from nests. It's great to watch them from a distance. If you've got binoculars and you can see them, that's awesome. Don't collect them. Birds will come back to them, and they are protected. And some great things that we can do to support birds nesting in our backyards are put out things like natural fibers from our pets. All right, stay safe, take care of each other, and we hope to see you at the Nature Center someday soon.